Hey, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, then hi, my name is Erica, and today I'm gonna talk about Kyra from OKBaby's podcast. It's called Beneath the Sheets, and it is mainly about sex. Sorry, I cannot say that word within the first 30 seconds of a video, so I was waiting for the 30-second mark, but it's about sex, and she made a comment about SA, or the R word, and about how sometimes drunk girls or women, I'm assuming she means women. I hate when people use the word girl and they mean an adult woman, but that girls cry R word or SA when they got drunk and they slept with someone and then they regretted it. Now, from my understanding, and from the understanding of many psychologists and professionals who talk about consent, if you are intoxicated, you cannot consent to having sex. So no, Kyra, it's not just that the person regretted it or, oh, well, they were throwing themselves at the guy. It doesn't matter. If you are intoxicated, drunk, high, whatever, you cannot consent. And now I realize that's hard for a lot of people to understand because we live in a culture of drunken hookups and all that. But it's not something I just made up. When I went to college, we had to watch those videos about consent. We watched that ridiculous Canadian tea video, which is extremely problematic. It's comparing SA or R word to forcing tea down somebody's throat, which that's a very trivial comparison to make. SA is a traumatizing event. A lot of people who've been in SA struggle with PTSD and other mental health issues as a result. So I don't like the comparison between forcing tea down somebody's throat and SAing them. But
Of course, but just because you blacked out, there's a fine line in this, obviously, and I'm fully for if a girl is drunk, guys, don't go there. That's the safest thing to say is don't go there. But my friend,
it's hard when they're
on
that's
top
what
of
that's what they want.
yeah, and I get that.
The thing.
I do get that, but I think that I think it's if you have blacked out after you made out with them, touched their dick 50 times and all of that, whispered things in their ears, and then you blacked out and don't remember, for you to wake up the next day and be like, oh my God, a rape. It's well, let's think about this for a second.
Self-reflection.
Self-reflection. Because then there's girls like you who it actually happens to, and it discredits that. So it's kind of like cry wolf in a different way. It's you made a poor choice.
Well, that's what I mean.
That doesn't mean,
lack of terms to cry wolf, but it's that situation.
Yes. You made a poor choice. That's not
I look back on guys I've slept with all the time, and I'm like,
it's very harmful when people make claims that people who've been SA'd, survivors of SA, are making it up, or they're just crying R word because they regret it. And I realize there are people that make things like that up. There are people that do that, but if you're looking at the small amount of people who are making it up or doing it because they regret their decision, then you're invalidating all of the people who've actually experiencing it. You know, it's like the whole, oh, what was she wearing thing. It doesn't matter what she was wearing. It doesn't matter what anybody was wearing. You could be walking around nude. I would not suggest doing that, but you could be walking around nude, but that does not justify you being SA'd. You are not provoking it by what you're wearing. If you've had prior sexual relations with the assailant, if you've had a friendship with them, none of this is the reason why they SA'd you. SA is about power, and the person, the assailant wanting power over another person. So nothing you've done is the cause of you being SA'd. I just want to make that clear to anybody who's experienced it, that it isn't your fault that somebody decided to violate you in that way. It is 100% on the assailant, and it's about them not knowing boundaries. It's about them not caring about the safety and the autonomy of other people. And it's about them wanting power over that other person, which is not okay. And I know this is a pretty short video, but I just wanted to make it because I saw Sincerely Sharon, if you don't know, she's another commentary channel who talks a lot about family vloggers, and she recently on her Instagram, she has a whole Instagram where she'll post things that maybe she doesn't think aren't a full YouTube video, but she'll like post little clips of things family vloggers and different influencers have said and done that may be construed as problematic, or like things they're having to face that other people have done that is problematic. Anyway, so Sincerely Sharon posted this clip on her Instagram, and I saw it and it really alarmed me, especially knowing that Kyra, and I think her podcast host name is Hannah, they, for their podcast, which is centered around sex, which is a whole other thing, the primary audience of them is children and very young adults. And when I say very young adults, I mean like 16, 17, you know, because when you go in the YA fiction section in a bookstore, the demographic is mostly like teenagers, not someone my age who's 24. I'm considered an adult, even though I would consider myself very young. But anyway, that's my own issue. But her demographic is mostly children. And it's not good to be telling children this, because then they're gonna think if they experience this that it's somehow their fault, or they're just making it up because they regretted it.
But in reality, that's what happened, and it was sexual assault. It was not wanted. It was not validated. Like, it wasn't okay, and that's where the misconception is because it was not.
But that comes, I think, from people who are, like, one, make it up, like you said, cry wolf. A lot of drunk girls cry wolf because they're not happy who they slept with, and that, I think,
or like, I feel like with like athletes or like celebrities.
Yes,
like
but like
that.
even outside of that, like people just make shit up. But also, I think the other side of that on the drunk topic, because obviously that's a very common one. I think that unfortunately, like when I've seen this in my own house with people I know and like my friend group long ago, is somebody is actually throwing themselves on top of a guy. I know people are already sweating hearing me say this because they're curious where the fuck I'm going to go with this opinion. But like on top of a guy, like making out with him, like as teased, like as giving him all the signs.
Yeah.
And then they sleep with them, but they black out like right before that. I'm giving an actual situation without names. Black out right before they sleep with them. And then the next morning are like, rape. And it's like, that's not rape. Unless you said no, unless you actually said no, of course, but like just
No. If someone's intoxicated, they cannot consent to having sex. Therefore, it is SA at the very least, and there are times when it's R word, depending if penetration happens. I do not know if I am allowed to say that on YouTube. I probably shouldn't have said the P word, but you know what I mean. That's the difference between SA and R word, is when it actually, yeah. YouTube is very sensitive with that type of stuff, so I try to keep it to a minimum. But another thing I wanted to talk about, which is kind of unrelated, but I was having this conversation with my mom before, and I was talking about how people can be blackout drunk, and my mom thought, which I don't know if this is a generational thing or what, but my mom thought when I said blackout drunk that it was a synonym for being so intoxicated that you pass out and you are unconscious. When I use the term blackout drunk, and this is from my own understanding, I could be wrong here, and if I am, feel free to correct me down below. But when I say blackout drunk, I mean somebody who's so drunk they're still functioning. They could be having conversations, dancing, doing whatever they're doing, but then the next day they have no recollection of what they've done. I personally have never been blackout drunk. I have friends who have been. I'll like make plans with them while we're out drinking, having a good time, and then the next day they won't even remember that we made those plans. But you do not have to be unconscious for you to not be able to consent, because obviously if you are so intoxicated that the next day you're not even going to remember what you said or did, then you're incapacitated and you are unable to make an informed decision for yourself. So just because somebody's very drunk and they say, yes, I want to do it, or they're throwing themselves at a guy, which I hate that term. I think it's kind of sexist and misogynistic. We'll go into that another day, maybe, who knows. But if they are making out with someone, if they're like really into them and trying to get with them, it's still, if one or both parties are intoxicated, you should not have sex. And I know a lot of people are not going to be happy with that. And don't get me wrong, I like to drink, I like to have a good time, but I don't do that and have sex. I would rather not talk about my sex life on the internet. It's something I don't really want to talk about. It's my personal business. I don't judge people who talk about it on the internet, but it's something I personally have a boundary for and would rather not go into detail. But just, if you're intoxicated, if the other person's intoxicated, just don't do it. It's not worth it, and it can still count as SA, because if somebody cannot make an informed decision, then they're not really consenting to it, if that makes sense. I know this was a bit all over the place, but I just wanted to make this video because of Sincerely Sharon's post. I haven't seen a lot of people talking about it, so I wanted to bring light to it on whatever small platform I have. So if you learned something, or if this helped you in some way, please give it a big thumbs up. I never know what to say at the end of these videos, because saying if you enjoyed it isn't really appropriate when you're talking about such a serious topic, I guess. So I'm always a bit uncomfortable when saying if you, please give it a big thumbs up. But anyway, that really helps push the video out into the algorithm so that more people can see it. And if you have not already and you would like to see more of my content, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye.